So OJ was acquitted of the murders of his ex-wife Nicole and her friend. The acquittal was a result of a combination of factors, including the defense's focus on the issues of race, the prosecution's handling of the case, and the media's influence on public opinion. OJ's lawyer, Johnny, was able to win the acquittal by making the trial about race and manipulating the media. The verdict was controversial, with the majority of white Americans believing that OJ was guilty, while a lot of African Americans supported the acquittal. Despite being acquitted from the criminal case, OJ was found liable for the deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman in a civil trial and was ordered to pay $33 million in damages.
In 1997, a jury found him liable for the double murders in a civil trial. He was ordered to pay the victims' families $33.5 million in damages.
Now let's get into the physical evidence that the prosecutors had and presented to the jury. They said they had some blood drops that were found at the gate of the murder scene. It contained some of OJ's genetic markers, and when OJ was interviewed by police, he did have a cut on his finger. Now let's talk about the gloves, because the gloves are my favorite part, because he said, like, what does it say? If the glove don't fit, then you must acquit. An extra large Aries leather glove was found at the murder scene. Another glove that appeared to be its mate was found on OJ's estate. The gloves were covered in blood. The blood, again, according to law enforcement, had OJ's markers on it, as well as Nicole's and Ron's blood. They also found some hair fibers. I guess hairs described as similar to OJ's hair were found in a knit cap. He left, if he did it, he left a lot of evidence. Strands recovered from Ron's shirt were also identical to the hair on OJ's head. So his hair was on the body of Ron and in a little head cap. We also have some bloody shoe prints. Bloody shoe prints were found at the crime scene. They matched a size 12 Bruno Magli shoe. Magli shoe. The shoe is a unique Italian-made model. OJ said, I don't own a pair of those, but there was a photo of him wearing them. He also wears the same size 12, so that was submitted as evidence.
And remember those bloody footprints at the scene of the murders? Prosecutors at the criminal trial said they were made by size 12 Bruno Magli shoes, and there were only 299 pairs sold in the USA. In the video deposition, he insisted he never owned a pair.
Because I know if Bruno Magli makes shoes that look like the shoes they had in court that's involved in this case, I would have never worn those ugly shoes.
But then this photo surfaced of Simpson wearing Bruno Magli shoes 9 months before the murders took place. Look at his reaction when he's called back to give another deposition and is shown the photo.
And then there was a pair of socks that had blood on them that were found in OJ's bedroom. The blood had the markers of Nicole and himself on it. So it was a bloody scene. I don't know, you'd think that more than just a cut on his finger would, cause that amount of blood for his to be mixed in. Also, along with the physical evidence, the fact that Nicole had recorded 60 domestic violence incidents and reported 6 should have been more than enough. Also, along with the fact that he once said to Nicole, I could kill you and get away with it because I'm OJ. So there's a lot of evidence here. I think it's pretty sad, when you look at how people advocate for DV nowadays, that in the 90s, it didn't seem the same way, but also this story was so just influential and there was a lot of different opinions mixed in. But not even with the overwhelming evidence against him, he was found not guilty for these 3 reasons. 1, the glove did not fit, which created reasonable doubt. He also had a dream team for lawyers, which, keep in mind that Robert Kardashian was on his side while Kris Jenner was sitting on the side of Nicole's. So there was a little bit of tension there. There was also the racial tension in the country at this time, because they successfully made this a white and black problem, which made it divisive. And, if you felt a certain way about your community, you're going to just, stay along with your community. So a lot of people had strong opinions on that, and they felt like they were just targeting OJ for being a black man, which I get it. This country is terrible. Trust me. We see it every day. So it does happen. But I also just you cannot fixate on that when you also have, evidence, and she had gone through something.
The murder trial happened in late 1994, just 2 years after the LA riots, when thousands of people protested against the acquittal of 4 white cops who had badly beaten an African-American motorist the year before. The LAPD's approval rating was at an all-time low, and everyone believed every last LA cop was nothing more than a racist. So that's what the defense leaned into. They said the cops were trying to frame OJ and had purposely mishandled the DNA and evidence they collected.
It also give a lot of MO. I mean, if there's been this much domestic violence, like, who really wants to go out and, off Nicole Brown Simpson? Like, no, there's no one out to go and get her besides OJ.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Ronald Goldman.
Now, OJ's face in that moment, even Robert Kardashian is stunned. He's like, did we just get away with this? And while they did, they also kind of didn't. I mean, like I told you earlier, he had to pay a lot of money to the families because they sued him for wrongful death. So he was out over $30 million. But honestly, that's nothing compared to freedom and not having a, massive criminal charge. Now, OJ kept a low profile for a little bit. He wasn't gone long. 9 years after the civil suit, OJ was back in headlines promoting a book called If I Did It and a television special. Penned with the help of a ghostwriter, OJ says the book is a fictional account of the murders if he did it. Okay, make it make sense. So you got away with it, and now you're gonna write a fictional story about how, if you did do it, how it would have gone down. It almost sounds like he's trying to flex this moment. The outraged families of Nicole and Ron took their case to the American public, as they should. Quote, the fact that someone is willing to publish this garbage, that Fox is willing to put it on air, is just morally despicable to me. I would hope that no one buys the book, says Ron's father, Fred.
Regan and Simpson agreed that he would write a book about the killings.
What do you think people are going to think of this book?
Some people say maybe it's blood money. Well, guess what? Every book that was written about this case was blood money.
Now, there is an interesting twist to this book because eventually the publisher did not publish it. The executives were fired. I mean, the public outcry was ridiculous. And because Ron's family sued OJ, they actually were awarded the rights to the book and they decided to sell it for themselves. And maybe they're out here selling this book because Ron's sister Kim explains that the family has not received any of the money awarded to them from OJ. Quote, OJ's been thumping the nose at us for years. He's been skirting the system. He lives in Florida, so he's protected by the homestead laws there. So they can't attach his NFL pensions to any of his other pensions and this awardment. So they're supposed to be getting $19 million. They haven't gotten any of it because he's using Florida laws to, avoid paying them, which is kind of morally messed up. I mean, everything's morally messed up at this point.